Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Welcome in, everybody, to the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Man, oh man, we got a road game, fellas.
Let's go.
The Detroit Lions are taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today at 4 o'clock. Or 4:25, I guess.
Jeff. Come on, man. Lock
Technically,
in.
but regardless, they were moved. It was a 1 o'clock game. Buccaneers having a pretty good season, 3-1. Lions are 4-1. They moved the game into a slot, which I can appreciate. Like, as an NFL fan, when you're moved to that 4 o'clock slot, that 4:25 slot, it means something. It also means something. We got the entire crew here today. Booner, my guy, my partner in crime, chilling alongside me on this Detroit Lions pregame show. We got BMG in the booth. Yanked him right out of Big D Energy. We'll pause. That's actually that's a pause.
Come on.
Hold him off of Big D Energy. That's still a pause.
Get it together.
Matt Broder's joining us, Detroit Lions beat reporter for Woodward Sports, hanging out with us as always.
Woodward Nights.
And Woodward Nights, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. That is, we have the duo here. We do. And then we have Chris Platte, the man, the myth, the legend from Heavyweights, chilling with us. What'd you say?
Put on with the headphones.
Yeah, you're looking like Jason Kabinda today. He's got that Kabinda look on him. We're fired up. I know people are already chiming in right now in the chat. They're fired up as well. And guys, I the whole trap game stuff, which we'll get into later in the show, I want to address that because spoiler alert, I don't think this is a trap game, and I'll tell you why later in the show. But some interesting notes before we get into it. Detroit Lions lead the series overall against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 31-29. And then, of course, Jared Goff, we'll get into him because I thought something was interesting. His stats against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I'll bring up later in the show. But for right now, let's go through some injury updates, at least what we have at our disposal right now. It's already announced that we have Matt Broder here to confirm this. Brian Branch, out. Jahmyr Gibbs, out. Jonah Jackson, out. Bam Knight, he's out for the season. James Mitchell, out. Emmanuel Mosley, done for the season. And then Pascal, out as well. A couple, though, are questionable. Khalil Dorsey, questionable. Sam Laporta, questionable. And then there's a couple guys that are just unspecified, which I think will be playing. So anything stand out significant, to me at least? I mean, you're out Jonah, Brian Branch, and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, I think those are the top three.
And then James Mitchell, while Laporta's banged up. I think those things are probably, they stick out to me immediately.
The Jonah Jackson one, if you had it out of those three, the Jonah Jackson one might actually be the least of my worries because you have Graham Glasgow that's stepping in. To me, though, Jeff, the Brian Branch one is probably, if I had to rank one that's the most concerning, would be Brian Branch because of these weapons you're going up against here. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Typically, you would think like a Brian Branch would be going around in that nickel spot with Chris Godwin and kind of affecting the game that way. And to me, he's been your best secondary player all season. So you're without your best secondary player right now outside of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. That is the most concerning. If you're talking injuries,
yeah,
like the Jonah Jackson one, like I said, Graham Glasgow.
He's been solid.
Fill in. But the Brian Branch one, that's the one where I'm going to be really looking at and seeing kind of last week. Can some of these other guys step up? Which they did last week. Will Harris stepped up last week, had a big game. Can he do that again versus a better football team and a better offense? And I'm interested to see. I might throw Will Harris in one of my bets today.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the corpse of Adam Thielen and DJ Chark. This is Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. These are legit wide receiver. Both of them, to me, are wide receiver ones. They're just on the Bucs. But Broder, your reaction, because I think, in my opinion, and Booner kind of spoke on it, is I'm not worried about Vitae. Because for people that don't know, Vitae was really, really good this year before he was hurt. So not concerned there as much with the Jonah Jackson injury, even though he's a damn good player. Vitae seems to be on track. He's ready to play.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be sliding Graham Glasgow over to that left guard position. Vitae will move back into his starting spot at right guard. But, you know, the middle of that offensive line going up against Vita Vea, Kalisha Cansey.
Big boys.
Although that rush defense hasn't been so strong for the Bucs, it's an important thing to shut down early because Vita Vea, he can be a disruptor with the best of them in the league if you let him get loose. So Jonah Jackson, it's a big miss, but they're lucky to have lucky to have Graham Glasgow and Vitae there to fill in.
And look at some of the other injuries to the Tampa Bay Bucs. Their injury reports out. No one confirmed yet officially out, but guys that are questionable still. Mike Evans, questionable. I expect him to play, though. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. Jamel Dean, neck shoulder injury. He had full practice this week, expecting him to play. You mentioned Kalijah Cansey.
Yeah.
He had a full practice this week, expecting him to play. Devin White, he had a foot issue, but he'll be playing. Shaquille Barrett's questionable. And then Levante David didn't really practice this week, but it's Levante freaking David. He doesn't have to practice.
Does it feel
so
like the Lions have the biggest injury report in the NFL? Like just the last 2 weeks, like you're just been battling.
I'd have to go look, but man, it feels like that at this point. Like these are just the weekly injuries. They don't have on here C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who's already out for.
Emmanuel Mosley.
He could be coming back in the playoffs, but Emmanuel Mosley, he's out for the season. Yeah. At least the secondary, and I think that's probably the place to start for me. If I'm concerned about one position group, and I know it sounds crazy because the secondary's played really well, but man, it goes back to that defensive line. It really does. Like, can those guys do what they've been doing against the run? Can they get after Baker? Because if anything's going to help a secondary that's banged up, it's an elite defensive line, and they've showed this year that they can take over games. But can they do it without a Brian Branch, without C.J. Gardner-Johnson? Once again, no Emmanuel Mosley. Good thing Jerry Jacobs is playing his best football of his career. I think that's a good thing, Matt Broder.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And they got to be on their toes this week because when Baker Mayfield's at his best is when he's able to elude that pressure. The defensive line needs to get to Baker, needs to make it tough on him, but they also need to be disciplined in their containment, not letting him escape like Geno Smith did earlier in the season where Baker can pick you apart. He's at his best when he's able to improvise, when he's able to be spontaneous and find those guys on the run. I think he's the number one quarterback in terms of QB rating with pressure when he gets out of the pocket. So it's something Jerry Jacobs, Cam Sutton, that defensive backfield is going to need to stay with these wide receivers as long as possible to kind of counter that. But those defensive linemen, they got to get there. They got to make Baker's job tough from the pocket.
And this, this smells like to me, Booner, and listen, since you're the betting guy, I'll go to you on this. Aiden Hutchinson, he's already, top 4 in Defensive Player of the Year? This smells like that type of performance. Because you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line, the defense, I think they got 8 players, and I could be wrong on that, 8 players on the defense that still have Super Bowl rings from when Brady was there. One thing that isn't the same, that offensive line is not the same when Brady was there. They still have Wirfs, who's an all-pro.
I think that might be the only guy they have left.
But still, this is a game, it sounds like, for Aiden to get loose and wreck another game.
Yeah, especially like Broder said, a guy like Baker who wants to move around and he's going to try and extend plays. If Hutch can contain them, and on the other side, if these guys can really contain them, John Kaminsky can go out there and contain Baker Mayfield, Hutch will have a field day today. And whether he gets 1, 2, even like a half of a sack, he's going to be, like we already know, Hutch leads the league in pressures right now. He will have pressure on Baker Mayfield. Baker has not seen that this season at all yet. He has not seen Aiden Hutchinson. He has not gone up against the guy in the NFL who has the most pressures on the field in the NFL. So that's where I think it's going to be a little bit of a game changer and maybe a little bit of a shock for Baker to where, hey, he starts to extend these plays. Hey, Baker Mayfield, meet Aiden Hutchinson. Here you go.
Meet Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, this comment, too, referring to the wide receivers, Robert Lane. I love Jeff, but the corpse of Adam Thielen comments need to stop. My point was that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are not Jonathan Mingo, Adam Thielen, and DJ Chark.
Is this the best wide receiver core that they've gone up against all season?
Yes. I would give them the edge over Seattle, probably.
I would.
Because I'll take Mike Evans and Chris Godwin over DK and Tyler Lockett at this point. So, yeah, I'm with you there. And then there was, of course, no Travis Kelce week 1. So, yeah, I'm giving the edge to the Buccaneers. The point being, though, Robert, is this the best, wide receiver core they've faced, which is true.
Yep.
It's not arguable. And some of these other comments, I know people, the Brakeman says, Mike Evans is cleared to play and expected to play. And that's the big one for me. Mike Evans is their big playmaker. And even the Eagles game, because I brought this up, even the Eagles game, which seemed out of reach to begin with, if you watch the game, Eagles versus Bucks, Mike Evans still broke loose for a TD on that secondary, and that was on Darius Slay. So Mike Evans is the guy that I'm curious who's on Mike Evans. Is it going to be Jerry Jacobs? He guarded DK Metcalf week 2, and it didn't really work out. It was a matchup problem. I mean, DK 6'4", over 200 pounds.
Yep.
If you throw Mike Evans, who's 6'4", 6'5", 200-plus pounds on Jerry Jacobs. To me, that's just not a matchup that favors Jerry Jacobs. That's got to be Cam Sutton.
I think it has to be Cam Sutton. That's one of the best receivers in the NFL right now. Cam Sutton's been locked down. People say it all the time. Why don't we hear Cam Sutton's name? Why don't we hear his name? It's because he's been so damn good. Cam Sutton has, and you put him up against a Mike Evans. Mike Evans is going to probably get some. He always does. He's going to get a couple catches, but you want to limit him as much as you can. It's going to be like a similar thing, I think, last week to Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen was going to get catches. It was how do you limit him? How do you still get turnovers? And how do you kind of still find a way to get stops with Adam Thielen getting those catches? That's, to me, where it is with Mike Evans and Cam Sutton. Hey, just limit him as much as possible. To me, we did our top 10 quarterback or wide receivers. I had him at 10 because that man goes out there every year and gets 1,000+ yards, and he dominates in games, and he gets his no matter who he's up against. Today, you just have to limit that man. Cam Sutton, I think he can do that too.
And they play well off of each other. Chris Godwin is more the death by 1,000 cuts wide receiver. He's going to kill you with his 8 catches, his 6 catches. Mike Evans is a guy who could get 2 catches and still break, kind of like what we expected out of J-Mo could happen this week, but he can get 1 catch, take to the house. He's that type of game changer. So Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, 2 dangerous wide receivers. I'm curious how the secondary holds up against them. Let's go to break here. When we get back, we'll talk more about the defense itself. Buccaneers defensive line, Lions offensive line, Buccaneers DBs, Lions wide receivers. Who do we expect to break out? What do we expect out of the Lions offense? We're going offense. We'll come back and talk about that in a little bit. We're watching the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Stay tuned.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. G-G-G-G-A. Oh, sorry, I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Welcome back into the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We're breaking down Detroit Lions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is that a Lions chain you got?
This is a Lions chain, baby.
Rightfully so. Look at that.
Thank you.
Booner's got the Lions chain. We got the entire crew in studio, BMG, Matt Broder, Chris Platte hanging out with us as well.
Let's go, boys.
We just got done talking about the injuries, which, cause for concern for the Detroit Lions. That's fair to say. They've proven they can win despite who's ever injured, which is a sign of a what? Good football team. That's what happens in this league. Let's talk about the offense, though. Matchup for the Lions offense. And we'll just kind of have this convo strictly on the Buccaneers defense. Because to me, if there's one thing I don't want to say fear, but one thing I'm concerned about, or I'm wary of, or I'm interested in for a matchup is this Lions offense on this Buccaneers defense. You talk about where they rank respectively. You talk about the Tampa Bay defense. They're 8th in points per game allowed. They allow 17 points per game. Rushing defense, they're top 10. Passing defense, they're 16th in the NFL. Third down defense, though, they're 29th. Interesting stat. Remember that one. Takeaways, though, they're top 5. So this is a defense that is buzzing, just like the Detroit Lions. Now, Detroit Lions have been better in categories, as in rushing defense. They're 7 spots higher. Passing defense, they're 1 spot behind the Bucs. They're essentially the same in that area in terms of the measurements. Overall, though, points per game, they allow less than the Lions. Now, it matters who you play. I mean, the Lions played the Chiefs, the Seahawks. I mean, they've had some tougher games, except the last two. But regardless, this Tampa Bay defense, for the most part, is a similar defense in which they had with Tom Brady. They drafted some new players, Antoine Winfield Jr., one of the better safeties, like him a lot. They lost Sean Murphy-Bunting, shout out to Chippewa, local here in Michigan. He's not there no more. They still have Jamel Dean. I want to ask you, though, what your thoughts on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, that matchup, Lions offense, Bucks defense, your thoughts on it?
I think the biggest matchup that you have to take advantage of, and this is something the Lions have done really all season long, is that I know that Tampa rush defense, what did you say they were, Jeff, 10th? I believe in the league.
Rushing defense, they're 10th, but they're also allowing like 4.9 yards per carry. So there's some context there.
And I think that's where the Lions, and we can all agree, everyone in the chat, everyone can agree, that's where the Lions have you could say overachieved, but they've done what they're supposed to do with David Montgomery, with one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. That's where I want to see is establish that run. Keep what you're doing in the run game. I think, to be honest, Jeff, I think the Lions dominate in the run game today.
Okay.
And I think that takes a lot of time of possession away. And I know you do hear some big names in that secondary there, which some of them haven't been playing as well as they've had in the past. I don't know if that has to do with I don't know, but that secondary has changed a little bit, and those guys haven't been as at an elite level as they have in the past. So I want to see this run game, though. I want to see them dominate. I want to see David Montgomery go out and get 100-plus yards again, get maybe 2 touchdowns, and then set up for other things. Set up for a big game for Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, Jamison Williams, different things like that. But I do think that's where the Lions can take, and I know they're 10th in the league in rush defense. I still think the Lions have been that good. You have the number 2 offensive line in the NFL. Look what the Eagles do. They still do that every single game. Whether they're going up against the 5th best rush defense in the NFL, whatever it is, they will go out and dominate in the run game because they have the guys up front.
I'm glad you brought that up because the first time that the Bucs got a taste of that Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, man, like DeAndre Swift looked like LaShawn McCoy.
That just helps to point out that much more there.
And that's like he had 16 carries for 130 yards. Now, every week is different in the NFL. Like the Broncos gave up 70, and then this Thursday allowed 18 to the Chiefs. Things are very different in the NFL week to week, but regardless, you get to kind of take things away from certain matchups. Like Booner said, Lions have the second best offensive line in the league. No Jonah, still think they're a damn good offensive line. They got their 3 best offensive line, all offensive line men.
That's what I was going to say. Andrew Hine in the chat put no Jonah. I'm still very confident. Look at Graham Glasgow last week was the 2nd-ranked guard in the NFL.
Yeah, you didn't. There's not much of a drop-off there.
No. So, and Broder brought this point up earlier this week was Graham Glasgow and Taylor Decker are best friends. They're playing on the same side of the ball. They've played together before. Like, those guys have that chemistry. You're not going to have a huge drop-off. I know Jonah Jackson is that guy there. But you're putting in a guy who last week in PFF was ranked the 2nd best guard in the NFL out of however many.
And Vitai's back, yep.
Yes, and Vitai's back on the other side. So you still have that offensive line. And even if you think about it the last few weeks, when Vitai was out and Graham Glasgow was in, or Evan Brown, these different guys were in, they still were out there dominating the run game. David Montgomery was still out there getting his versus Green Bay. So I'm not too worried on it. I still think, like you said, Jeff, the first time the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had their first punch in the mouth with the run game versus the Eagles, that was their only loss they have. That's where I think the Lions have to go in. I bet you Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson have already had this conversation to where that's where you set the tone is in the run game. That's going to set you up to either have a big win or it's going to be a close game. If you set the tone in the run game, you're going to go out there and dominate them just like the Eagles did.
And I agree with you, Booner. I think this matchup too with the Bucs, it's interesting. A lot of good. They have great linebackers, Levante David, and of course Devin White, who's a beast. I'm not too concerned about this Lions offensive line not getting the job done. This offensive line, David Montgomery, not running for at least, he's going to get his 60, 70 yards at the minimum. That's going to happen. And he's going to get a lion's share of the carries, no pun intended, because Jahmyr Gibbs is out. So
how about that, Jeff?
I think he's gonna, and I took that from Broder because he's used that phrase so many times with his dad jokes. But still, I like this matchup today, or I do. I think the Lions offensive line, of course, you lose a guy like Jonah, who's a Pro Bowler. Yeah, it doesn't stink. But to your point, Booner, Graham Glasgow, and of course, Vaitai, that's where the Lions have strength in terms of depth. Their guard spots. Now, if Taylor Decker was out and you had Matt Nelson, maybe we'd be having a little more of a different conversation with Broder. I'm confident this offensive line could still move the chains with David Montgomery.
I definitely think so, too. And I think I've got a fever, and the prescription is more bell cow running back David Montgomery. I think this is one of those games where he can actually have a monster game, and I think whether it's for a monster amount of yards or number of carries, they're going to go to him early and often because they want to set up that pass game. They want to pull that linebacker crew that is very strong at taking the ball away from offenses, led by Levante David, Shaq Barrett, Devin White. They want to pull them as close to the line of scrimmage as possible to then use that play action that we heard Baker Mayfield, Larry Foote. We heard everyone talk about how good Jared Goff's play action is.
Yep.
This is one of those games where he needs to use it. It's gonna come in handy against this Bucs team with a very strong secondary, strong linebacker group.
What about this comment? Jeffrey Penner, shout out to you. Jeffrey with a G. Appreciate that. That's interesting. Weird how asterisks apply to our KC win, but don't factor into our play so far, minus near half our starters most games. Yeah, Lions don't get that benefit for some reason.
Like I said,
they beat guys without starters, and they're like, okay.
They have some of the most injuries in the NFL, it feels like, right now.
Oh, yeah.
So
they didn't have
start putting asterisks on if just start putting asterisks on that Seahawks one. I mean, just let's talk about it here. They should be 5-0 right now, right?
Yeah, they lost that game because of a coin flip and some other mistakes. That's essentially how that Seahawks game played out. And no St. Brown last week, no problem. He scored over 40.
Real quick, too.
What's up?
Think about this run game. I keep going back to this. I feel like this is like the most important part of setting the tone in the game. David Montgomery, if you guys haven't really seen, I'm sure all of you guys have watched the games. No matter what offensive line's in, whoever's playing, David Montgomery runs so hard to where if he gets hit at the line of scrimmage, he still finds a way to get 4 yards.
Yeah,
he does that every single down.
You need 2 guys to get to him. Because if it's 1, he's going to break that tackle.
And even if it's 2, he's still getting a couple yards. That man runs so hard.
He falls forward.
I don't care if they're the 10th run defense in the end. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you have Graham Glasgow in there. I don't care. We have David Montgomery in the backfield right now, and he runs so damn hard. I don't see, you set the tone with the run game. I think Ben Johnson knows that. You're going to see you might see 20, you're going to see 20 plus rushes from David Montgomery. I can lock that in. I wonder if that's a bet.
And at least for this, too, and I want to bring this up because we talked about the offensive line. I want to talk about Jared Goff for a second, his matchup against the Bucs. And I don't want to – this isn't a cause for concern or anything. I'm just bringing this up as a fun fact to kind of show how far Jared's grown in his career. He played the Bucs twice, once in 2019 and once in 2020. In the 2019 game, both with the Rams, of course, he was 45 of 68, 517 yards, 2 TDs, 3 picks. So apparently, listen, Jared, his 68 attempts, he completed 45 of them. So that was the first game, 2 TDs, 3 picks. He faced them another time on the road in Tampa in 2020, 39 of 51, 376 yards, 3 TDs, 2 picks. Now, one thing I do know about Jared with the Detroit Lions is he ain't going to throw 5 interceptions in 2 games against the Bucs if you play him twice with the Lions. That Jared was different to me.
He's not going to throw 50 times today.
But there's the other thing. Thank you. I was going to bring that up. Is they had him throw 68 in the first game and 51 in the second.
Insane.
He ain't doing that with the Detroit Lions. So, the fact that Jared has a career passer rating of 88.7, 893 yards, 5 TDs, and 5 picks in 2 games, that's old news. This Jared Goff, Broder, and I'll go to you on this. I think this is the game where Jared walks in. I think he doesn't throw. If he does throw a pick, fine. But I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out of Tampa clean, no picks. That's the type of football he's been playing, though. Turnover free.
I'd heard that stat before. 109 pass attempts in 2 games.
That's insane.
Dude, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's definitely not throwing that many. He didn't have the run game that he has now back in 2019, 2020. But he's just going to – I think he's just going to be the solid, steady Jared Goff that we've seen all year. I don't know if he's going to blow the top off the defense with the amount of yards, but it could be another one of those 240, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions kind of game. He's got these weapons back. We're going to learn if Sam Laporta is going to be playing in this game sometime, I think soon this morning. He's going through a light workout with the team, or they're putting through a light workout to see how he's feeling before they officially designate him active or inactive. So, with Laporta, Jamison, and St. Brown out there for the first time together, and you got steady weapons like Josh Reynolds, Marvin Jones, Khalif Raymond. Who's he going to spread the ball to? How is Ben Johnson going to take advantage of these mismatches? Antoine Winfield and Jamel Dean are great cornerbacks in the secondary, but they can't cover everybody. They can't stay with them on every single play. So how is Ben Johnson gonna spread the ball around to everybody?
Yeah, get involved in the YouTube chat right here. I'm going to read 2 comments. Funky says, if he throws a pick, it can't be a pick 6. Those kill your squad's chances. That's facts, Funky. Casey J. Mack. That many pass attempts is just bad coaching, in my opinion. It puts too much pressure on any quarterback. Yeah, I agree with that statement. And even though, and Booner, I'll go to you on the whole the Jared Goff stuff. Even though he, early on in the season, pick six, couple picks.
Yeah.
It feels like kind of like last season. Jared gets it out of his system, and then he plays pretty clean football. At least this year, you got a defense that we expect, and they have shown it, to kind of bail some of those picks out from Jared Goff, which he's never really had in Detroit. Do you think he'll throw a pick? I think that's irrelevant. Guys throw picks in this league, but the fact that you have a defense now, and I've been saying this, that can actually get a stop, like they showed against Green Bay or they showed against other teams prior, it does help. But to Funky's point, if you throw a pick six, it could make the difference like Seattle. So both can be true.
Well, even with that Seattle game, and this is kind of my thought processes on Jared Goff not taking care of the ball, is he had mistakes in some of those games outside the pick six. You saw, or even with the pick six, you saw him throw an interception, and then the next possession, he goes out and gets a touchdown.
He scored a TD on every pick so far
every
this year.
single one.
After the pick.
And that's what's so big about him is some quarterbacks, they throw a pick and they'll go out there and throw another one, or they'll go out there and get a 3 and out. The mental side of the game gets to them. Jared Goff is a veteran, and he knows, hey, we need to move on. We saw an interview that he talked about. He literally spoke on that. Someone asked him about it, and he goes, listen, if I'm going to go out there and pout about it and be mad about it, the whole team's going to. So I turn around and we go get a touchdown after. The thing is, with these picks, though, and I don't think he throws ones today. I think he takes care of the ball. But the thing with the picks, like if you look at Seattle, how many times did they give Seattle just insane field position? Not just that, like the pick six obviously was a touchdown. The fumble right in the second half, to start the second half. Seattle gets the ball at like the 35, 40-yard line. Right after that, you go for it on fourth down multiple times. They get the ball within 50 yards to go down and score. So that's where, if you build those things up, that's where it hurts you. But a one interception from Jared Goff, to me, if he bounces back from that, Jeff, and he actually turns around the game, go get a touchdown, move on from it. I don't think it affects the game as much. If he throws a pick today, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, the game's over. Or a pick say, oh, the game's over. I have faith, like you said, in this defense who has been elite. This defense has been elite to go out there, get a stop, and get them the ball back so you can go get a touchdown to cancel that out.
Yeah, Jeffrey Penner says after Goff turned it over, he also led us to 10 points in 3 minutes to force OT and give us a shot. That's clutch. That's fair.
That's part of it, too.
Yeah, that's part of it is the resilience, the poise. And Funky mentions that, too, in the comments here. He says it's called being poised, and Goff have to, coming a long way in that department since he got here.
Being a leader, and being a pro's pro, being an NFL guy. There's half of the quarterbacks in the league right now who aren't that because they haven't gone through that. Jared Goff, Jeff, what's the stat you say all the time? He led the NFL in turnovers for how many years, and now it's Josh Allen?
Yep.
He's been through it. He knows what it means to turn the ball over, and he knows how big of a difference it makes. That was the situation in L.A. to end his kind of time in L.A. was all these turnovers, fumbling the ball, all these situations. Now he knows.
Think about it, though. I don't remember the last time he fumbled. Like that was a big thing with LA, and I just haven't.
Wasn't there one in the Carolina game last year? Last year's Carolina game, not this year's.
Might have been.
Yeah. So it would be last year.
Last year.
How many times has he fumbled in his career with Detroit? That's what I'm curious. Maybe once or twice. Maybe twice.
But he's gone through it. He knows he knows now.
Yeah.
How big of a deal that is.
Much different quarterback than the one in LA. I mean, that's very, very clear to see. Mike, listen, you defend Goff. That's your guy.
It is my
as
guy.
you should. He's balling. But you love Goff. Your opinion on the matchup today, facing that Bucs defense. Confident? What's your thoughts?
I'm a little nervous. Obviously, they got a great defensive line, great defensive backs. But I think if Goff just sticks to his game, doesn't do too much, doesn't try to overdo it, he'll be fine. Obviously, your offense is a little beat up. You might be missing Sam Laporta. You got St. Brown coming back this week. So I just try and stick to your game, not take too many chances downfield. Don't really test the defense too much. Just stick to your game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think this is a matchup that I think even on the road kind of favors the Lions offense. All right, let's go to break. When we get back, we'll get into the matchups for the Lions defense. We'll talk about this defense, Baker Mayfield. I got some context on Baker's performances this year I want to lay out to the people and get everyone's opinion on that. You're watching the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. See you after the break.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Let's get into these matchups today, shall we? Lions defense taking on the Buccaneers offense. You got Baker Mayfield out there, huh?
Baker. Scary guy.
He's in the kitchen.
Oh my gosh.
The question is he going to burn the meal? That's what we're going to find out. You got some wide receivers, which we talked about. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, talented wide receivers. Both wide receiver ones, in my opinion. But of course, this offense, at least Baker this year, he hasn't been balling, but he hasn't been the Baker we've known to be, at least in his later years in Cleveland, after post-playoff win. Now, to kind of give some context on Baker and what he's been doing, for people that, just to give you we'll give you the good stuff. Technically, right now, he's having a career year. He has the highest completion percentage of his career, highest touchdown interception ratio, one of the highest in the league currently. But you know what's interesting about that is who he's played, which I kind of laid out for the Morning Woodward Show audience this week. But I just thought it was interesting because, again, I will give credit where it's due. Had a pretty good game against the New Orleans Saints, who, again, good defense. I think they're top 4 in yards allowed. But that was week 1. Saints didn't have any tape on Baker and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What happened when there was tape out there? Well, he went to played Philly at home in Tampa and struggled. 15 for 25, 146 yards, a TD and a pick, and he didn't play well. Now, you go forward, then he played 2 garbage defenses. He's played Chicago and Minnesota and looked, pretty damn good. 3 TDs through those 2 games, over, basically close to 500 yards, and had a high completion percentage in both those games. Now, what I'll say is this. Besides New Orleans, in opening up against New Orleans and going on the road to New Orleans, and it's a divisional opponent, there's always good games there, I get that. The only other really good defense he's played when there's been tape on him is Philly, and he didn't play well. So something tells me that it's got to give today. Like Baker's, the TD to interception ratio, Baker starting off having the highest completion percentage of his career, that's going to come to a stop today. I really do believe that. Now, we had questions about the secondary. You have some injuries, but man, Booner, I think this defensive line is going to cause havoc. Kind of like what the Eagles did to Baker, and he did not play well. Baker's due for that type of game today. He just is.
I think so, and I think as Lions, being here in Detroit, we've all had these conversations about how bad the Chicago Bears are, how bad the Minnesota Vikings team is going to be, and how tough of that defense completely fell apart. Jeff, even last week on the road in Minnesota, 21 for 34, 173 yards, or 2 weeks ago, I apologize, 61 completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, QBR 45. Baker did not have a good game for his Minnesota, and they still won that game.
Yes.
This is a different defense than that Minnesota defense. This is a defense who's been top 10 in the NFL, and that Minnesota defense isn't close to that. They've lost guys. So that's where I'm coming into where, yes, it's coming off a bye week for them. They might be a little slower than we think, and you might be able to take advantage of that, I believe. I'm one of the people who, coming off a bye week, I'm convinced that, you get a week off, you get injuries, rest. I still think that, hey, you haven't played football in 2 weeks. We just played a game last week. We're ready to go. You're not as ready to go. That's kind of my mindset on a bye week. That's why even with the Chargers for us, I've always been like, I'm interested in see how we play. But this Baker's a different. Baker, outside of that Eagles team, they have not seen a defense like the Detroit Lions. Last week they didn't versus the Vikings. We know what Chicago is, so that if we're going to count that as a win for them, in New Orleans, obviously on the road to Week 1. Jeff, I'm with you. I think this is the week to where you open a lot of things up versus Baker. Aaron Glenn's going to have a field day kind of sending guys at him. Dan Campbell mentioned it. You stop the run game, you start opening up things for us to be able to really rush you. And that's where the key comes. That's where the main key is. You have to go in there and stop Rachaad White, stop the run game, make Baker make plays. Make him go out there and make plays. They did it in Philly, and he couldn't do it, and they won that game 25-11 and dominated. That's what the Detroit Lions defense needs to do. I want to see this Detroit Lions defensive line dominate today. You know who I want to see, boys?
Who?
Derek Barnes, Alex Anzalone. I want to see those guys flying around all over this run game and dominate Baker. Don't let Baker escape the pocket and just put pressure on him all day. That's where I'm at. Because we haven't. Congratulations, you beat the Chicago Bears and you beat the Minnesota Vikings. Congrats. Want a cookie? We're not giving you one. We're coming in here. We're going to dominate you. This is a different team than the last two NFC North teams you played.
Yeah, and Broder, I mean, Booner already brought it up, but the Vikings 19th in yards allowed, and he didn't even play. You didn't have this big performance against the Vikings. I'm not trying to disrespect Baker and say disregard him. The Lions have this, but I'm also saying, if this Lions defense is who we think they are, and trust me, I know them to be that because we've seen it play out over the last couple of weeks, Baker should not be a world beater. He just can't. I mean, right now, he's 6th in QBR. Something's got to give for Baker. And even if, he does, they score 20-plus, wherever the case may be, this Lions offense is going to show up today, even if it is a higher scoring game. I just don't see a scenario. People bring up, Jeff, is this a trap game? No. Because if you're one of the better teams in your conference, I bring up Philly against Washington. Was that a trap game? Yeah. What happened? Philly won. That's the end of story.
Dallas versus Arizona.
But Dallas is
that was definitely a trap game, though.
But Dallas is Dallas, all right? They do some questionable things. And Lions have done that my entire life. But guess what? This year's different. This is a different Lions team. This isn't last year's defense. If this was last year's defense, Booner, I would agree with everybody and say, man, maybe it is. Maybe this could be a game where Baker. But this is a different defense.
It's not a trap game, too. I'm telling you guys, I've said this all week. It's not a trap game. You're going up against Jeff. This is an NFC North. This is an NFC playoff team you're going up against. I said it on our show Friday. You can't go out there and look at this as a trap. You have to go out there and look at this as like another playoff game or a seeding game. Am I wrong on that at all?
No, because if the Lions lose this game, the Bucs jump them for where they rank in the NFC.
If the Lions lose this game, they've lost 2 games to NFC playoff teams. Yeah. You lost to the Seahawks and you've lost to the Bucs. And I said it Friday. If you lose this game, there's a question. People are going to start questioning, are you a real team? Because the only 2 playoff teams you've lost or played this year, outside of the Chiefs, I'm talking about NFC playoff teams you've played. If you lose to both of them, there's going to be questions. That's why it's not a trap game. This is a serious football game. You're on the road versus a team that's probably going to win their division in the NFC, and you have a chance to play them in round 1 in the divisional round. You have to go and win this game. This isn't a trap game at all.
And this is where having the coaching advantage on a week-to-week basis, I think this matters this week. I do. And I like Todd Bowles a lot, but, man, the Lions coaches every single week are dialing up game plans. They just are, and it's working. And Broder, at least for you with this game coming up, we talked about Jared, we talked about Baker. To me, this is whoever, and this is cliche, and it's said every week in the NFL. It's very basic information, but to me it applies to this game, Broder. Win the turnover battle.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big one. Baker, Jared Goff, that's going to be what it comes down to, in my opinion.
Definitely. Booner's talked about this multiple times on the show, but it's the Bucs are, I believe, 5th in the NFL in giveaways, and meaning they don't give the ball up often, and 5th in the NFL in takeaways, meaning they go and get that ball often. And like you said at the beginning, Jeff, it's Levante David. This is what he's done his whole career. They got weapons in that secondary too. Antoine Winfield Jr., Jamel Dean. They got playmakers on that defensive end. That's what helped them win that Super Bowl a few years ago. So making sure you don't turn the ball over, controlling that run game, controlling the time of possession is definitely going to be the key for the Lions. Don't let them get too excited, get too much momentum with those creamsicle uniforms. They need to shut this down from the start.
Bold prediction?
So just to make sure, the creamsicle unis do not give them an advantage?
I don't know. I haven't made a decision on that because there's a little bit of swagger that goes when you think if they like them, if the players like the uniforms.
I get it.
Gives you a little extra juice.
Like Deion,
Tropicana.
Man. You look good, you feel good, you play good, they pay good.
Yeah.
That's one of the hardest
Jeff.
things I've ever heard Deion say ever. Prime say.
Yeah.
I think there's truth to that.
I'm mad the Detroit Lions. I put it out on Twitter last night. I'm mad that they didn't go all white. They have white with gray pants. I think they if you're going to play the creamsicle, you better bring your best uniforms. You better go all white on white.
Battle
on white.
of the creamsicle versus the white unis. Like this is
why did they
every detail matters. It's like you got to wear whatever you wore, kind of like what you do. You wear a certain outfit, the Lions win.
I wear the same thing. I have fun fact. I asked about this before the show. Is I've been wearing the same sweatshirt and same jeans for every stream that they've won. I've washed them, but the thing is when we do the streams, we celebrate, we jump around. I've got a little rip in the back of my jeans right now, and I have to wear these jeans today. So I've asked around, is there anyone that has like a 24-hour turnaround to sew my jeans up? Because I'm wearing them today.
Man wants his jeans sewed. He's asking before the show. Anybody know any sewers? Like, on a Lions pregame, I'm like, no, I do not.
I don't know. Maybe someone's mom here, or I don't know, parents.
Well, Jameson Williams is back. He's going to be busting through those seams.
Wait, what'd you say? What'd you say, Chris?
Oh my gosh.
I'll see what I can do for you, Booner.
Chris, I'll make some calls. Yeah. We'll see what we can get going.
Can I give out a bold prediction? We're still talking about the defense, correct? Lions defense.
Yes. Talk to me.
Bold prediction. I do think this Lions team creates turnovers today. I think you at least see 2 turnovers forced by this defensive line. Baker's going to make mistakes, whether it's an interception, fumble. You know who I think I've been talking about it all week, and I'm going to bet on it. I'll talk about it on the stream. I think Kirby Joseph gets his first of the year today.
Has to. Okay.
I think it's like plus 550. I think Kirby gets his first. No Brian Branch today.
He's due.
He is very much due. He's been all around the ball all year so far. I think Kirby gets one. I think that defensive line puts some pressure on Baker, and he overthrows it, and Kirby just comes over the top, takes it. I don't know if it's a pick six or not, but I do think Kirby gets a turnover today.
Nice. You know what, Booner? I like that.
That's been my bold prediction this week. I don't know what it was on Monday, though. I was like, I need to find something.
I think that's a good one.
Kirby was one.
We were trying to pick defensive Pro Bowl players. Kirby was one of the names that was consistently brought up. He hasn't played to that, but that's what we looked at coming into this season as his ceiling, is a Pro Bowl caliber player. And he did almost have that one against Seattle that would have, I think, been a pick six. That one that was right there, but. At the end of the day, this is the guy that has shown he can make big plays. Hasn't made one yet, and I think, like you said, I think he's due. I like that. I would lock that.
It's a big game, and Kirby makes big plays. Like the Seattle one was the last big game we had, and Kirby was right there. I think he does it today.
I like this one. He says Walker will hold on to one today. Walker's been
all over the ball, man.
Close. But to your point though, Booner, CJ Gardner-Johnson hurt. It opens up opportunities.
Brian
I think
Branch.
first one to rise, I think could be Kirby very well. Let's see here. Let's go to break. When we get back, we'll get into Booner's bets. But it's also going to be a little bit of a group session because I do have some interesting things that Mike and me we're chopping up before the show. And he got me onto a parlay. We'll show you what that is when we come back. Booner's got some single bets, and we'll kind of talk about what we should do for this Lions game because, boys, I got to win some bread. This is that time. I lost money on Michigan yesterday. Some player props that, for whatever reason, stay away from player props when Michigan takes on these garbage-ass teams because they rest in the third quarter.
I tried to tell you.
We had the same parlay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, all right. You know what? Screw you, Booner. All right, we'll go to break. Like I said, when we come back, you're watching the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. G-G-G-G-A. Oh, sorry. I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
With money on the line. Featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel. Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Welcome back to the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Jeff Iafrate, Booner, BMG. Of course, Matt Broder was joining us, but he's been grinding all morning, so he is departed from the pregame show. Yeah, he's a real one. Woodward Nights, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. weekdays. Chris Platte joining us as well, holding down in the TD booth. Let's get into Booner's bets, but we'll help you out a little bit, Booner. I want you to go through yours first. We'll react to them, give our thoughts, and then me and Mike will share that parlay we got today.
Okay, I have three NFL bets.
Okay.
That I will be taking. It's around the league. They're kind of, I believe they all might be 1 o'clock games. But if you guys don't know, I do love to take those home dogs. So I've got 2 home dogs, and then I've got an over that I really like. And then I have 3 player props. I don't know if you guys remember last week at all, but last week we went all Sam Laporta. I believe 2 out of his 3 hit, and the touchdown hit, which was plus money. So I have a player on the Detroit Lions that we are going to hammer today. I have a feeling about it. I think we're going to do it. So the first one here, Jeff. Boys, the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings are playing today. The battle of the 1-4 teams.
Mike was talking about that too. That's a juicy game.
It's a
bad
juicy
defense,
game.
bad defenses.
It's in Chicago.
Okay.
There's a home dog today in Chicago, and that is the Chicago Bears at +3. Fellas, I don't know about you guys, but I'm taking the Chicago Bears +3. Is that great? Gentry, am I crazy for that, boys? Is that a wild?
No, I don't mind it at all, especially being at home, and obviously Justin Jefferson's gone down, and that Vikings offense without him, there's a lot of question marks. So,
Mike, you turned your the camera a little down, just because Broder's 6'8". So when he was in the booth,
my height just got exposed real quick.
Well, Mike isn't short.
Mike is like 6'2", really.
Thanks, Broder.
Yeah,
Thanks.
But Broder's like 6'8", so he's got it. It's very different. But to Mike, he's like a little kid in there with the camera. Mike's just
like sitting down too.
Mike's like,
hey guys,
I think Chicago will.
Just looking up.
No, he's standing up, boys. He's standing up.
No, I think that game's interesting. Even for me, who I'm out on Fields, at least I think he could be something, but the whole elite thing
They
is
just
a little
won
ridiculous.
last week, though, like at home.
Yes.
3 points versus a bad Vikings team who just lost their best player, Jeff.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Justin Fields, this is a game where I think over 200 passing yards is inevitable for him.
Yeah.
In the rushing yards, no running back. Khalil Herbert's hurt. So who the hell are they running the ball with? Rashawn Johnson, he had a concussion last week.
Justin Jefferson's a running back and quarterback today.
Well, yes, Justin Fields. He will be
Justin Fields, yeah,
he will be doing it all. Ryan Lentz has 8 touchdowns last 2 games. It's impressive.
Lentz, I'm
is he
with
elite
you.
though? I don't know. He's out. Listen, Justin Fields to me, he's finally taking the turn we all expected him to, but still, some of those bets though are intriguing. Booner, I like them.
I appreciate it. Next one I have here, this is kind of a shocker as well. Luke has actually picked this team to win outright, but when I saw this underdog, and I've been betting against the Philadelphia Eagles for the last few weeks because they've kept games close, but the New York Jets, I know it's Zach Wilson, fellas, but the New York Jets are +7 at home versus the Eagles. I'm going the New York Jets +7. You get a full touchdown to an Eagles team that's going on the road. The Jets, they've kept it close with some teams, if we want to be honest.
The only thing that concerns me is both their DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner, I believe, aren't playing. So
hey, that's a fair point. But
that's
why it's +7.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Whatever.
That's why we're hitting it, fellas. We're hitting that +7. They lost to the Chiefs 23-20. They lost to the Patriots 35-10. The biggest loss was to the Cowboys on the road 30-10. So I do think they keep it in. The last one here, Gentry, this one might be for you. You might know a little bit more, but the over here, the Saints-Texans, that has to go over. It has to.
Why?
I do that. Has to. It's 42. Seems low.
You know what? Random take, super random take, and if you could bet on it, I would do it. CJ Stroud to throw his first pick today.
You can bet on it.
I like that.
I'll look what it is.
I'm telling you, he's going to throw one today. I mean, and trust me, and I love CJ Stroud, but this whole being perfect as a rookie thing, it's going to come to an end, and I think the Saints' defense is the defense to do it. Side note, but continue, Booner.
I'm hitting that over. I don't know what it is. I looked at all the games. I was like, where can I go over? What's going to go under? I was most confident in this Saints-Texans game. If he throws a pick, though, I'm interested, Jeff, to see if he does throw a pick here. But the Texans, they've scored 30, they've scored 37, they scored 20, 19. Dude, I don't know. 42 points. They get to 20. I think the Saints win this game still. a 24-20 game.
I don't really mind that. I did look at the Saints games, and I think they've only went over like 43 one time, and the Texans have twice. But I still do like it.
You're debunking me. I don't know what it is.
I still do
Sometimes, fellas, I don't have the stats, and I don't have what it is. But when I look at a game, and I love a game, the other ones, home underdogs and stats, I have the stats. This one, boys, I don't. Something about it. It's like the Kirby Joseph interception. I feel it.
All right.
All right. Let's go.
And at least we'll keep around the NFL for a little bit, then we'll go back to Lions, because we kind of talked about it before, who we think for the Lions, someone that we're going to be betting on strictly.
Yeah.
But, Mike, you want to share what we got in right now? I don't know if you can still get on it because they're playing.
No,
but
I'll just do what props I like, and I'm just doing 4 player props. I'm not really betting on the games as far as the 1 p.m. slate. But player props, I like DJ Moore over 60. I know it's went up. I think it's like 62.5 now. I still think he gets that. TJ Hawkinson, 55.5.
Love that.
And Jalen Waddle, this was early too. I think it's at 60 now, but I got it at 58.5 for his yards. And then K9 rushing yards, 67.5. Those are my props that I like today. I think Waddle finally gets after it a little bit today. Kind of had some slouchy performance coming back from his injury. Hasn't gotten too many yards. Obviously, we talked about the Vikings and Bears game. That game's just going to be a shit show. I think there's offense is going to be flowing. And then K9, I think he's gotten that every game but the Lions game. So I'm running that back with my guy.
And the other thing, too,
I love that.
Bernard brought up Sauce is out.
Yeah, and DJ Reed. That's what I said. And I brought this up to you earlier, too, Jeff. A.J. Brown got the crybaby treatment. Dallas Goedert 8 last week. If I was betting on anyone for the Eagles, it would be Devontae Smith. I seen his yards props are right around 50. I would look for Devontae Smith. If I'm talking Eagles.
I like when
that.
someone tells me Devontae Smith, he's like that guy that goes off every once in a while. When someone sits there and tells me to go Devontae Smith, I do it.
And I love guys that can hit their total, their prop, whatever the line is at, in one catch. Like, what's Smith's? I think his over-under was like 50-something, 57.
Yeah.
He can get that in one catch.
You know who does that a lot, and I've hit on it a lot? George Pickens.
Another guy.
That man gets it in one catch.
So,
yeah, literally.
That's an interesting one. We have one currently right now that, we'll see how this trends, but we had Zay Flowers getting a touchdown today at plus 220. The parlay is Zay Flowers, anytime touchdown score, Raheem Mostert, 70-plus yards. This is mine. Fields, 200 yards, and Kenneth Walker, 60 yards.
I'll take that.
So it's a safe one, but Zay Flowers got to get in the end zone here.
I'll take that.
But for the Lions, regarding the Lions, some props you like. And I want your thoughts on this, Booner. You're the professional. But when I was driving in with Mike, one thing I kept thinking of is, I don't know if I'm going to touch Sam Laporta today. Is that fair? I'm just worried.
No, I think that's fair. There still might be like, I think the injury might be a little overreaction, and I could be wrong at 11:30 when it comes out. He might be out, and I could look really stupid right now.
But if he plays,
but did you see him in the locker room after practice this week? I don't know if you saw that video.
I listened to him speak to the media. Yes.
He the way he went about it and talked about it was like I'm fine. I'm going to be just fine. It flared up a little. The calf flared up after the game. I'm just fine.
But he's not the one that makes those decisions.
He's not. But if he plays, I don't see Sam Laporta not going out there and like if he plays, he's playing. He's one of those guys where if he plays, he's going to go out there and play. It's like Amon-Ra St. Brown. We had that toe injury a couple weeks. He still went out there and produced. So I don't hate. I see what you're saying. He might not get the 60 yards or whatever he usually gets, 5 catches, but he's still going to, I think, 3 catches, 40, 50 yards if he plays, and possibly a red zone touchdown.
Because I look at it from both sides. If he has a chance to re-aggravate it, and then the other part is if they go up by a couple scores, Sam's getting pulled because they want to keep him healthy.
That's
so
fair.
It's like,
okay, that's fair.
That's
fair
where
point.
I'm like, damn.
Fair point.
But to your point though, Booner, is James Mitchell's out. So I mean, you're going to need someone's got to
James
play
Mitchell's
tight
out.
end.
Yeah, obviously,
so Brock
Zylstra's out for the year.
And they just signed that. Who's the Anthony Ferksker?
Something.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name. They just signed him. He's on the practice squad, so we'll see. I think he got elevated. But regardless, anything else you got, Booner?
I have a couple Lions ones. I told you guys.
Talk to me.
Each week. You
Josh
get that
Reynolds.
feeling. Shout out Josh Reynolds. You know what, Khalif Raymond? I'm gonna throw this out there. Khalif Raymond's line this morning was at 18.5.
It still is.
I'm gonna actually.
Wait,
that's
what?
gonna be one of my bets. Khalif Raymond will get over 8. That is a Booner lock.
18.5.
Josh
Yes.
Reynolds is only at 34.5.
I think that's because JMO's back. Is my guess.
Doesn't matter.
But 34.5 is
dude.
good.
Josh
Khalif Raymond's
doesn't
hit
matter.
over 20 yards almost every week besides one.
If I'm being real,
That's
if I'm
catch.
talking about like who JMO will pull production from, to me it's Khalif. Like
Yeah.
I think Josh is gonna do.
Khalif's still gonna get 2 catches
no,
today
you're
for
right.
20 yards.
And I agree with you. But if we're talking like Josh,
Lock it in.
Josh Reynolds though, man, like he ain't getting taken off the field.
Jeff.
He should.
Khalif Raymond will get 2 catches for 20. Take that. That's
fair.
one of the Booner
I like
locks.
it.
I'll be on the stream.
I like
We'll
it.
sweat that one out. But my other one's here. I did think, and I've been talking about it all week, Jeff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, he missed last week, and he's not a guy that likes to miss games.
He doesn't.
He does not like to miss games. Right now, he's fighting for an all-pro spot, right?
Yes.
He has to make up for that.
He does.
He has to make up for missed games.
I picked him for 1,400 yards.
Today is a game where that's 15. Today is a day where Amon-Ra St. Brown has one of those big games today. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown has about 7-8 catches, 100+ yards. His line is at 74.5.
Okay.
We're taking the over. His reception line's at 5.5. We're taking the over.
Okay.
Touchdown prop plus 150. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Lock all 3 of them in. All single props, by the way. Please don't parlay them together. I'm not a professional, or maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. I'm not a financial advisor or anything. But I'm taking all 3 of those overs and the touchdown score. And then the last one, I just found this on the sports book just now.
Okay.
What did we talk about with Monty? The rush game. Establish the run game.
Yep.
Dominate in the run game.
Have to.
David Montgomery, over 20.5 rushing attempts. He's hit it the last 3 games. It's plus money. It's like plus 105. That's the last player
I
prop
actually
I'm
like
going
that.
with this game.
I like that a lot, actually.
So just to kind of go over the ones I had here, I had 5 of them. Khalif Raymond, over 18.5 yards. Lock. Amon-Ra St. Brown, over 74.5 yards.
Lock.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, over 5.5 receptions.
Lock.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, touchdown, plus 130. Or
Lock.
150. Lock. And last one, boys, David Montgomery, over 20.5 carries.
I actually like
Plus
that one a
105.
lot. That's probably my favorite one is the David Montgomery and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And to your Khalif point, we just talked about guys that can hit their total in one catch.
One catch,
Khalif can do that in one catch. He showed it. They dial up a gadget play, get him on a 30-yard TD. He's hitting it. So I love him. This comment, Paul Thomas says, "You're an expert handicapper like cats, but you're good, Booner."
Thank you.
That's fair.
If you guys would like to pay
fair.
$400 for my pick, just shoot me a text or a DM on Twitter. I'll charge you $400 for a pick.
Yeah, and for the most part, I mean, even though me and Booner, we go in on some bets together, we lose together, but Booner doesn't. Listen, my winnings, you check over the last 2 weeks when I've been working with Booner.
If you guys
It's been a good life.
If you guys have watched the streams,
It's been a good life.
The last 3 streams, I've hit like total of maybe like 8 3 or 4 leg parlays. I've hit all my straight bet.
Yeah, I've been balling.
It has been. I'm nervous today. I was thinking about this when I woke up. I was like, the streams have been elite because these bets have been going. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. Like this week is like a down week.
Well,
like
Booner,
I'm due for a down week.
I don't have to answer this because I know how you're very serious about first touchdown scores.
Yes, nothing right now.
You don't smell nothing in the water.
I'm 3 for 3 on the season so far. Nothing right now.
I had a hot week last week. Remember?
You were hot.
I was 3 for 3.
Jacoby Myers. I
3
swear
for
to
3
God.
first touchdown scores last Sunday.
I bet Devontae. I felt, he has to. It's Green Bay. Mike just casually slides a Jacoby Myers bet in our chat, and then it hits, and he's
No,
like,
it wasn't even the chat. This man calls me. I'm at the gas station, grabbing some stuff before the game. He's asking me the first touchdown. I tell him, and he still doesn't
You
even
didn't put it
lock
on?
it.
No, I already put in Devontae, so it was locked
So
in.
he called me for no reason.
No, I called you. I called you to get your thoughts on it. And Mike's like, "No, yeah, I could see it, but like Jacoby."
Jeff is the guy
And
where
later that
you
night,
give him a couple
Jacoby.
parlays,
Hell
and he'll be like, "I'm going to switch one leg of a parlay," and then it hits, and then he's like, "Oh no, bro, my leg didn't hit." Like, bro, I told you.
Okay.
We laid it out for you.
He switches up.
Like, but it would be like one leg, or it would be like one touchdown score.
I don't trust.
And
I
then the
don't
ones you trust
anything.
us, we win.
That is fair, except for yesterday on Michigan. But that was also my fault too, because we built that
It
together.
was raining.
It was raining. It was a weird one.
Tough game.
How do you score 52 and
That first quarter killed us.
It's ridiculous. All right, appreciate you, Booner. Good stuff. You get to see Booner's reaction later on the watch party, the stream, because those bets, I like them. I could see every one of them hitting.
If I have a
really
first
can.
touchdown one as well, I will say that.
But you
got
got
to
to feel it. It has to be natural.
Usually it's like right before the game. This one scares me a little bit because Bucks do have a decent offense. Like they have guys like Mike Evans can go out there and score the first touchdown.
Yeah.
It's some like the Panthers. I was like, I don't know. Or the last one I did, I was like, the Packers. I don't know. Maybe I'll go Amon-Ra St. Brown. I've already done him twice.
Why don't you be Craig Reynolds? Everything you said just wrong.
Come on.
Makes no sense.
Come on.
That's how betting works, dude. I hate it.
Not for me.
Like it's like the thing you never expect to happen. No, honestly, I think first down touchdown score. You're right. It's tricky. It gets
you have
really
to have
tricky.
a feeling.
And it's hard to be 3-on-3 on the season. Like, you're perfect this year. So, shout out to you. Let's go to break. We get back. We'll talk about J-Mo. What do we expect from him this game? It's an interesting conversation. I know people have different answers. We'll get to that conversation. Then we'll go around the NFL, preview some games, pick our winners and losers, and then we'll give our game predictions, Lions and Buccaneers. You're listening and watching the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Welcome back to the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network, brought to you by our friends over at Bullseye Event Group and Long Drink. Listen, there may or may not be some people indulging in some long drink today.
They're so good.
They're fire.
Yeah, they are.
Drink.
Delicious. We were drinking them at the Michigan game.
Had one yesterday.
Yeah, it's really good.
A zero sugar one.
Zero sugar.
know
There you
they
go.
had that.
And you got the health benefits, too. Zero sugar. There you go.
Oh, yeah, I need that.
Let's talk about...
Yeah, you get enough sugar with the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, you drink a lot of Kool-Aid after
I
those
think a lot
wins.
of people around the city are worried I have diabetes.
Okay. Well,
That's all that's in the comments.
we don't have to talk
They're
about
worried
that.
about you.
Yeah, we'll save you of that discussion today. Speaking of discussions, let's talk about Jameson Williams, the 12th overall pick, the Lions wide receiver that has not played in many games, but I still expect to be a damn good player. Now, the question I have for the people is, what are fair expectations for Jameson Williams today against the Bucs? What are fair? And at least how I interpreted it, my take on it, and I have an interesting take, and I want you to tell me if this is fair or not, because I'm kind of in the middle here. And I know it's people hate it. You either hate J-Mo or you love him, but I'm in the middle here. Try and look at it from this perspective. You've got a good football team without Jameson Williams, essentially. You're getting production without Jameson Williams, out of guys like Josh Reynolds, and now with Sam Laporta, who people didn't expect to show up as early as he did. This offense is buzzing as it is. So do I think that Jameson makes your team better by being on the field? I do. I think his speed, Todd Bowles is going to have to account for that every time he's out there. That's fair. But what I don't want is him to be force-fed. That is what I don't want. Him to be force-fed and the offense be affected. If there's a play where J-Mo breaks loose, of course. And Jared mentioned it last game. He was loose one play, but there was pressure on Jared. He couldn't get to him. If there's a play open for J-Mo, of course get him the football. Get him the football. But it has to be organic. Like, J-Mo has to prove to Jared that he can be trusted. When you throw the football, he catches it. That's what I expect. It's a draw because if you love J-Mo, then you have to say he should have a big game this week. But I love J-Mo. But I don't think expecting him to go out and get force-fed is fair. Or it's, especially for a team that's winning football games and is a top 5 offense without him, top 10 offense without him.
The force-fed thing, that's what it seems like people who are going at Jameson Williams kind of want the Lions to do. They're like, oh, we want to see J-Mo go out there and be the number 12 pick in game 1 and 2. And then there's the people who are like, oh, Jeff, he's already played in 8 games. He's already
Snaps matter.
Yes, he's already been active for 8 games. First of all, this is a new team this season. This isn't last season. You have to come in when you're coming in week 4 or 5 last week. You're getting into this off. You're not going to be a major piece right away. That's a fact. Am I wrong on that? You're just gonna. You have to get slowly into this offense.
Yeah, integrated.
They're going to slowly put you into it. You saw it last week. That was his first game back for the whole. He hasn't played all year. He wasn't even at practice for weeks. So to be like, oh, he only had 2 receptions for 2 yards. Why don't you look at the blocks he had? Look at some of the plays he made. He's slowly going to get back, Jeff. This week, he might not go out there and get 5 or 6 catches and go for 200, 150, 115 yards. But you know what you're going to see? You're still going to see them slowly go at him a little bit more. You're going to see him get integrated into this offense week by week by week. And then eventually, he's going to be a part of this offense fully. And what have we not? We haven't seen him yet last week. Guess who wasn't playing last week? Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Right.
Guess who plays this week? Amon-Ra St. Brown. So you're sitting there. Now you have your number one playmaker back. The defense is going to be looking at him. I would not be surprised today, Jeff, if you do see J-Mo get a catch and get a little bit of yards after a catch. And he only might get 2 or 3 catches again today. But it just takes one play for him to have that open field and go make a play.
Now, these comments, and people are chiming in here, and there's some fair comments. I agree with some of these. Like Dusty, I want to see him take one shot with him down the field. I think that's a fair expectation.
He had it last week. They took it last. And me and D-Mac talked about it on the stream the whole time last week was they're slowly, like Ben Johnson knows what he's doing. He's setting up plays for a shot like that. And he did it, and Jared just couldn't get the ball off.
Exactly. I mean, Todd says you can't really believe MCDC or Ben Johnson will force feed anyone, do you? No, and that's why I applaud this coaching staff. What's Ben's quote? No block, no rock. So we have to, and I know when I bring this up to Sam, and I love Sam, but one thing I bring up is, his run blocking, and he's like, that's not why you drafted him. Fair, but that's what he has to do to get touches in this offense. And instead of pouting and sitting there and not blocking and saying, screw this, they don't know how talented I am, he shuts up, he blocks.
You know who said that this week?
And for that, he's going to get rewarded. I do believe that.
Josh Reynolds came out, and they asked him, hey, when there's a game that you don't get a lot of touches like Green Bay when you had 0 targets, what do? He goes, well, there's some players in this league who like to pout and get mad about it. And he was like, I take that energy, and I go out there and block. And I block my ass off for the team, and I go do that because I know that's part of my job.
This is what I've said on heavyweights when it comes to J-Mo is I've always been with you guys preaching the long-term patience of it. Like, Week 17 J-Mo is going to be different than Week 6 J-Mo.
Yes.
Like, this is his first chance to have a not full season, but a consistent stretch of football for the Detroit Lions. And beyond that, when it gets to him, and it kind of parlays to Gibbs too. People are kind of wanting Gibbs to look like Bijan because Bijan's lighting it up and looking absolutely electric. Mm-hmm. And they're looking at him as another running back that was taken in the first round. But at the end of the day, what builds winning football is just guys making plays. If Gibbs gets you 1 touchdown in the NFC Championship game, he's worth it. If J-Mo gets you 1 touchdown in the divisional round of the playoffs or a 2-touchdown game in the divisional round of the playoffs, he's worth it. Like, he doesn't need to get these 15, 20 targets. Like, he doesn't need to have these monster games because this offense is elite and it's shown that it can win in several different ways. And at this point, the offense is so good that you don't need J-Mo to be a first-round pick talent. You just need him to make plays.
Yeah.
This team is just it has so much depth and versatility on the offense that you don't need Gibbs and J-Mo to be first-round players. Do you want them to be first-round caliber players? Sure, but at the end of the day, they don't need to be because there's enough talent on this offense to go around. And at the end of the day, if you're winning games, can't complain.
Yeah, people like to hold all GMs to the fire with first-round picks and to break up J-Mo and Jameer, but to Chris's point, you need those guys Week 17 and beyond. Like, J-Mo and Jameer hitting their strides in the postseason is this offense is buzzing without those guys, essentially. And Jameer, only can imagine what those guys how they'll affect your offense when they're both out there with both of those guys and their speed and their home run hitting ability.
To expect J-Mo to go out there last week after he wasn't at practice for a month and to hope that he sits there and he gets 100 yards and a touchdown last week. And I know he dropped a pass. I know he only had 2 catches. He's going to get that. He's going to get there. And that's where it comes to a point to where, hey, if you're right now going at J-Mo, when he does start making plays and starts doing that and being effective in this offense, and Ben Johnson is able to work him into this offense, you're just going to look you're not going to look great going at him this early. And that's where I'm at. I think J-Mo today, and I don't want to cut this conversation off. Zay Flowers scored a touchdown. And I know you just gave out that pick.
Let's fucking go.
That's the first one, Mike. That was the hardest one, I think, on that entire parlay.
You guys should have shared that with me before the show so I could have put it on.
I think we did.
That's just a sad day for Booner up here.
Yeah,
how much money have I won you, Jeff?
Let's
Share the wealth.
Okay, I'm sorry. We don't know. It's still not done. I still need Raheem Mostert, and I still need all those other guys. But
Jeff's
the hardest.
just a what have you done for me lately kind of guy, isn't he, Booner?
Oh, he is, dude. Like, he puts this bet on, and in the hardest leg hits. Now I'm sitting here, and I'm like, you guys enjoy. You guys have fun with this.
This is what. No,
I'm gonna make a couple bets today, and you're not getting them.
Booner, this is
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Only the people in the chat get my bets today.
Don't do that.
If I see Jeff put any of my bets on today, I'm going to tackle him.
This is my problem, though, because guess what? You know you do, Booner, which is fine. I have no problem with this. But now you have a problem with me. But this is what you do. Oh, yeah, this one hit. And I go, oh.
I sent you all my bets.
You do not.
I do too.
You do not. You say, oh, this one hit. And I go, oh, I didn't know about that one. Didn't you just send me one yesterday? You're like, oh, this one hit yesterday. All these college football parlays.
It was a live bet.
Live bet.
It was a live bet.
You didn't share it with me.
Why would I share a live bet with you? Because by the time I send it, it's off.
Okay.
It's gone.
Okay.
Come on.
All I'm saying
all
is
the people you guys bet on my
I get
plays,
flack for not sharing
Jeff
mine,
is
but he
not
doesn't
allowed
when
to.
he
If
doesn't
this
share
bet
his.
hits, he's not allowed to. No.
All right.
All right, J-Mo, though. Prediction here for J-Mo today. I think he gets at least 3 catches today.
Does he hit pay dirt?
No. Okay. But I think he does get 40-plus yards.
All right.
And I think you see maybe like a little end around. Boom, J-Mo runs it in. Not in, but.
What about this one? Kevin Bell, Detroit Lions money line, TD Monty, TD St. Brown, TD Evans, TD Goff, bet 5 pays 1,500. Oh, my God. Goff with another rushing TD. That's funny.
1,500.
Yeah, that's insane. Shout out to you, Kevin Bell, for that one.
Thanks for sharing the bet, Kevin Bell. Appreciate it.
You can't make it if you don't keep taking shots. So I appreciate that, Kevin.
Appreciate you sharing your bet, Kevin.
Yeah.
He probably sent it to his friends, too.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Hey, no, Kevin, 1,500 bones, man.
Say, I just keep sending Jeff bets, and they keep hitting. Remember what he said earlier? The last 2 weeks I've been betting with Booner. I've been making money.
I have. I give you a compliment.
Now guess what? He's graduated from the Booner show. He's graduated off and on, and now he's not sending me his bets. He's hitting his own.
No, man. Booner, we still do this together.
Booner betting class of 2023. Jeff Iafrate.
It's just me. I graduated.
My dad told old his graduating class was 3 people.
Bro.
I'm not capping.
Put his dad on blast.
Yeah. Your dad caught some strays there. That's 3 people. Damn.
Black and white, all that.
You can't make any excuses for like classroom size then. Like you're getting all the learning.
Yeah, bro.
3 frickin' people.
That's what I'm saying. That's crazy.
He had to have gotten all A's, man.
Dude, I would hate to be in a class with 3 people.
He had to have.
You don't know my dad.
You don't know him. Don't sleep on my dad.
My dad was stealing grandma's car at 12. My dad was different.
Oh, okay, he was different.
Yeah.
My apologies, Mr. Platte. Let's go to break here. When we get back, I don't want no smoke. Let's get around the NFL. We'll go through some games. We'll pick some winners. We'll break them down. When we come back, you're tuning into the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. G-G-G-G-A. Oh, sorry. I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
With money on the line. Featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
Welcome back. Man, what a good morning. What a good show so far. Previewing the Detroit Lions taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Welcome back. Again, this is the pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We just got done talking all Lions, offense, defense, J-Mo, Jared, Baker. You can rewind and listen back, and you can catch all our shows here at Woodward Sports. Any podcast platform you get your podcast, leave 5-star reviews all across the platform. It would mean a lot. Let's get around the NFL. We'll go through the slate of games today, pick some winners, pick some losers, maybe argue, maybe don't. We'll see what we can do here. Right now, though, just an update. Ravens and Titans are already playing
and Zay
overseas.
Zay Flowers scored a touchdown.
Zay Flowers scored that touchdown. Shout out to BMG for that. They're up 15-3 on the Tennessee Titans right now. By the way,
it's deflecting to you right now, Gentry.
Yeah, I know. That's how it always works.
That's how Jeff works.
What?
Man.
He gave me the parlay. I'm thanking him. He's gonna win me some money.
I'm used to it, though. Everything gets deflected towards me in this booth. Used to it.
I got to give credit. I'm not a
I
betting
appreciate
expert,
the credit.
Booner.
Why is this just coming out now?
I just have friends that make money, and therefore
Why
I
is
make
this just
money.
coming out now that it was Gentry? Before it was you.
No, I just said that at the beginning of the show, dude. I literally said BMG got me.
All right.
Don't get mad at me now, Booner.
Just hurt, man.
I know. He's really hurt.
Dude,
hey, hurt people, hurt people.
I give out.
Your girl in the argument, brother. Just can't let it go.
Hurt people, hurt people.
I'm very generous.
Is that fair?
Honest Dave.
Boy.
I go to you, Honest Dave.
That's the truth.
Okay.
I'm very generous. I give out a lot of winning bets. I would just, hey, if the boys are winning bets, if someone's hot, I just want the hot hand.
Now
He has FOMO, man. He cannot watch a game without writing other people's bets.
Dude, that's why I hate sometimes when people send me like 100 parlays, I have to put every single one on. Because it's like if I don't do that and one hit misses, I'm gonna be so mad. Like I'm gonna freak out.
By the way, Lamar Jackson against the Tennessee Titans right now, 11 for 13, $135 a TD. And then you go to what they're doing on the defensive side of things. Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith leading the team in tackles. Patrick Queen has a sack and a tackle for loss. Man, that Ravens team's legit. Like I don't know if they're world beaters, but some had them in the Super Bowl, and they got a good defense.
Guess who the Detroit Lions play next week?
Yeah, that will be a test in Baltimore because they're on the road right now. Both teams are on the road. They're overseas. So interesting matchup. We'll move on real quick. I mean, Ravens winning that football game. I know it's kind of
it's 15-3.
We knew that before though. I picked the Ravens. All right, move forward. Commanders Falcons. Huh? Can I interest you in Commanders Falcons? Anybody? 1 o'clock. Anybody tuning into that one?
No.
Falcons
Red zone.
win it.
Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder? No? All right. Who's winning that football game? At home in Atlanta?
Don't matter.
Who cares?
Atlanta.
Atlanta?
They win it.
Yeah, I would say Atlanta, too. They'll probably cover that 1.5.
I like Sam Howell a lot, though, man.
Yeah.
I do.
We did our picks. I think I actually went with the Durs on that one. I think I did, just because they're the team that's like inconsistent, but they bounce back very strong. Like they've shown me actually good games. Atlanta hasn't shown me yet a good game. They've shown me decent games, but never a good game.
And Atlanta has Desmond Ridder, and he had a good game last week. But
Yeah, Bijan.
They do. Mike, what do you?
Booner. He's too funny.
Yeah.
Man, hey, I'm just up here trying to put a show on.
Call them Theo
You're always
Vaughn.
a show.
Theo Vaughn, dude, I've gotten Theo Vaughn, Shane Gillis, Nick Swanson. I don't know. I've gotten
Nick
everyone.
Swanson.
Dude, I don't know the guy's name.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Okay. All right. Commanders Falcons. I'm gonna roll with the Falcons here.
There
I'm
you
gonna
go,
with the
Jeff.
Falcons. Or actually, I'll go nobody. Nobody wins in this one.
Tie. That's
Anyway,
fair.
yeah. You know who wins? Whoever doesn't watch that game. You win there.
We all win.
But listen, give me the Commanders.
I think you've already spent too much time on this game.
I'm jumping off. I'm jumping off
2
the
minutes.
Falcons. I'm going Commanders. I'm changing. I'm going with Sam Howell. And Ron Rivera is coaching for his job essentially. So you know what time it is. Moving on. Vikings Bears divisional opponent. I'm going to go with the Bears.
I'm going with the
no
Bears.
Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins. The only path to victory for the Vikings is throwing to a victory. And the Bears, I think, defensively, the over-under right now is 44.
Maybe this is Jordan
I can see
Addison's
that
coming
going
out
over
party.
too.
Remember
And this could
Stephon
be-
Diggs a couple years ago when he
Yes.
left and then Justin Jefferson came in and dominated? Maybe this is like a Jordan Addison, like he's the next man up in Minnesota.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I love Jordan Addison. Like, I'm in fantasy, so he's been doing really well for me. But this could be very well that breakout game. I think TJ has a big one too. I
Yeah.
could see 6-7 catches for TJ. But I'll go with the.
I'm going with the Bears.
I'll go with the Bears.
I'm
too.
sticking
I
with
just
the
hate. Yeah, this sounds weird, man. The Bears have not been, except for the last 2 games, would have stayed away from them. But today, Mike, I'm gonna go with them. I'm
going with the Bears too. Fields has been playing well the last 2 games. Obviously, I had the prop over 225 passing yards for Fields. I think the Bears take this one. Justin Jefferson means so much to this team's offense, and you're going to see it today.
Yeah, we'll roll with the Bears. Moving on, Seahawks Bengals. Interesting game. Bengals actually they've been looking like the Bengals. Now, you look at the first couple games for Joe Burrow, has not played well, but lately he has been playing well. So I think the Bengals are, back to what we thought they were before the season. It might be too late to make a playoff push. Who knows? Maybe they can. I'm going to go with the Bengals. They're at home. I think Jamar Chase is a big game. Devon Witherspoon, welcome to the NFL. It's Jamar Chase. He's going to He's going to get a 100 piece on you. Give me the Bengals. I think keep it close. I like the Seahawks. They're a good football team too. One of the better teams in the NFC. But give me the Bengals here.
I'm going the same way here. I'm going Bengals. They're 2-3 right now. This is a game that gets them back to 500 and they start kind of a playoff push. We will bring it up all the time. Lions went 1-6 last year and almost made the playoffs. The Bengals are one of the best teams in the NFL. If they have a slow start, they're one of the teams I think that can still go out there and make a playoffs and go kind of on a little bit of a run. Sorry, Seahawks fall to 3-2.
Yeah. 0-2 last year for the Bengals.
Yeah.
And I think the year before that they had a slow start too. I'm going with the Bengals too. I think this is going to be a close game, but I think the Bengals pull it out.
Moving on, 49ers Browns. Jim Schwartz taking on that 49ers offense. Before last week, I mean, for the most part, the Browns have been, if not the best, one of the best defenses in the league, led by Jim Schwartz over there. Myles Garrett, he's always going to be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. I think this game, this is a sneaky one because the Browns, they're out Deshaun Watson. He's ruled out. So you're going to have, DTR out there starting. So the 49ers should win this football game. But I think Brock, he might throw a pick this game. He might have one of those games where he struggles, but they still win the football game. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Brock's going to have to come back down to earth a little bit at some point. And he has not thrown, I don't think he's thrown one pick this year. And I think that Browns defense, it's a very new defense, and that Brock's facing, at least compared to what he's faced. I think they get one or two from Brock, but I think the 49ers win this football game.
To be honest, I mean, that Dallas defense is, I don't know if they're as good as the Browns defense, but they're up there a little bit.
They are, but
they just put 42 on them.
After that Diggs injury, they're one of the worst in the NFL.
Yeah, okay,
so
that's
not
fair.
saying he's the end all be all, but
the difference maker.
I mean, just look at the
but that secondary is, Stephen Gilmore is not who we thought. Or
you might
Stephon
be right.
Gilmore is
You
not
might
who
be
we
up to
thought.
something. Maybe I'll take the spread 9.5. 49ers still win the game, but maybe it's a close game. In Cleveland? I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, because Deshaun's out. So, I don't think they keep it close.
You almost had me with the defense there.
The defense, I'm selling you, not DTR.
The over-under is 36.
No, I don't even think DTR starting. The chat can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it's Tyrone Huntley or someone weird.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't think it's DTR again. But to your point, the Browns defense, I'm pretty sure has only let up one rushing touchdown the whole season thus far. So, I mean, they've been playing up to par, but I still think the 49ers cover this. They've been playing too well. The Browns got dominated by the Ravens last week, 28-3. So, and that was at home as well. So, I think the 49ers still take
someone
this
said
one.
P.J. Walker started.
That's what I meant.
Walker.
I'm sorry, P.J. Walker.
P.J. Walker.
He was on the Panthers, I think, before.
P.J. Walker, Tyrone Huntley,
they're not
both
winning
suck.
this football game.
Fun fact.
But that defense can keep it somewhat close. But continue on.
Fun fact, Christian McCaffrey, I'm pretty sure he scored a touchdown in 14 or 15 straight games, and I think if he scores today, he gets the NFL record or ties the NFL record.
This is the script.
Yep, I'm saying I'm pretty sure it ties it, and
I think I'm taking him to score a
TD.
touchdown. It's probably like minus 200, but I'm going to throw that in a parlay. Maybe I'll throw it in the one that you guys didn't give me with Zay Flowers.
Oh, wow.
All right, moving on. We don't need to revisit that. Hurt people. All right, let's move on. Panthers, Dolphins.
Dolphins by a million.
Dolphins,
yeah.
yep.
Dolphins by a million. Waddle, I think this could be a 150-yard game from Tyreek Hill. And then Waddle in the end zone, like Mike's doing the Selly in the booth.
I was doing my Waddle.
with you. Yeah, give me the Dolphins. The line's minus 14 right now, the line for Miami. They're covering that. Minus 14. They might win by 21-24.
Yeah, this is not going to be a football game.
Okay. Colts Jags. Yeah, that's fair. Colts Jags. This is an interesting one. Colts always had the Jags number. Trevor Lawrence is playing better. Jags are on a little bit of a winning streak. I believe they won the last 2 games. Give me the Jags at home. Gardner Minshew though, I think he could be one of the best backups in the league. He's every time he steps in.
No, I thought Teddy Bridgewater's the best backup in the league.
Shut the fuck up.
That's what everyone was like. Dude, when we got Teddy, everyone was like, he's the number one backup in the league. Like, no, there's some dudes around
At
the league.
the time, everyone can have an opinion, but with new information, I'm allowed to change my opinion.
Brother,
Neil Lewis says it best.
Fair.
That's
and
fair.
with new
But
information, Gardner Minshew, when he gets in the ball game, it's instant offense.
But
So
there's
I
other
like
backups
Gardner
in the
Minshew.
league that are better. I'm not going to get into
Okay,
this
we're going to
conversation.
talk about backups.
All
Just
right.
give
But
me this. Is
who do you
Gardner
pick,
Minshew a
Booner?
decent backup?
He is. I'm
End of
taking the
conversation.
Jags to win the game.
There you go.
Colts +4, though. Colts keep it close.
All right, there you go. You agree with that, Mike? What do you think? Jags
yeah, I
taking this
think the
one?
Jags win. I don't know if it's close. I still think they cover the 4.5. So
Okay.
or 4.
Saints Texans. We talked about this earlier. I could see that over hitting Booner. I can. I think this is a game, and you already know how I feel. C.J. Stroud throws his first interception on the season. Doesn't mean he struggles, has a terrible game, but come on. It's the NFL. Like rookie quarterbacks, you're going to have to go through those slumps. He's perfect so far. Something's got to give, and why not, facing a damn good defense in the Saints?
I'm going the Saints. They win this game on the road. This is a road win for them to go to 4-2. Like you said, eventually things are going to, with your up-down theory that you love to tell me about in gambling, I think that happens here with this. With the CJ?
Are you starting to believe in the?
I am.
Not you don't have to give. It's not the end all be all, but there is some truth to that.
There is.
There is. Thank you for that, Booner. Let's move on here. You're taking the Saints. I'll take the Saints. We all have the Saints essentially. Okay.
Yes.
But I think the Texans can't keep it close. But bet on an interception by C.J. Stroud. And if he doesn't, I would be even more impressed than I already am with C.J. Stroud. All right, moving on. Patriots Raiders, ugly ass game to watch that football game. Why is it on at 4:05?
No thanks.
This game should be on at like 7 a.m. Just play it while everyone's sleeping. Why is this game on at 4:05? Patriots Raiders? You kidding me?
Because it's probably in Las Vegas, so the time zone. But
that's cheeks.
No, that's just how it usually goes. That's just the way the NFL works.
There is no excuse for that.
Jeff, welcome to the NFL. There's time zones in America.
I understand that, Booner. Clearly.
And I'll just let you know. But this is a Patriots coach matchup.
And by the way,
I hate you. By the way, I hate you.
Yeah, okay, I'm not even gonna get into it.
Have I rattled Jeff Iafrate?
No, because you're okay. Anyway, continue. Why is the game on at 4?
Booner.
Because even if it was on at 1 o'clock, guess what? If you're on the West Coast, you just wake up early and watch it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I 100% agree with
concept to be up by 9 a.m.
I know, isn't that crazy?
I 100% agree with you on that. Before the players, that's just the way it works. But Josh McDaniels, Bill Belichick, they're both on the, in my opinion, both on the hot seat. Who would have ever thought Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick would be on the hot seat? Boring game. Really don't care about it. But I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I'll go the Raiders. Mac Jones sucks.
Yeah, always bet against Mac Jones. Always.
Yeah.
Death, taxes, and Mac Jones sucking.
And by the way, too, I mean that's Broder's guy. Jimmy G. He's a winner according to Broder.
Yeah, except when Broder has to, we put a pizza bet on it, and I win a pizza. Jimmy G loses.
That's fair.
Today? If you lose?
No, I was a couple weeks back.
I was like, what?
All right, Cardinals, Rams, no one cares. Rams winning that football game. Moving on. Eagles, Jets, interesting game. Eagles winning this football game.
Oh, yeah.
It's a matter of how close is it. I think right now the Philly, they're giving them a touchdown. It's -6.5. I think they not only do they cover, but I could see them. I don't see them putting up 40 on this Jets defense, but I could see like a 28-13 win or something like that, 27-13, something like where it's 14 points.
Yeah.
I did give out the Jets +7, so I'm going to stick with it. The Jets stay within a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's just the Eagles. I mean, let's look back at their games real quick.
They're out 2 of their best corners.
They are, but like the Eagles have kept close games with teams like the Washington Commanders, 34-31 in overtime. The Minnesota Vikings, 34-28. The New England Patriots, who you just clowned on for 5 minutes, they only beat them 25-20. The Rams, 23-14, and they scored a late touchdown to cover. So I do believe that this game ends up being a little closer than people think, even with Sauce out and these guys out. I'm still going to kind of go with that. I still think they cover +7.
Yeah. When are we going to have a conversation about the Eagles? Like, not saying that they're not good, obviously, because they're winning these games, but they have yet to look like a dominant team, look like the team that was a Super Bowl contender last year. Like, where are we?
You saying they're overrated?
I'm saying you need to do
Just say
what
it.
Detroit
Chris,
did against
say it
other
with your
teams.
chest. Are they overrated?
I always speak with my chest. I always speak honest. You know,
It sounds like you're going around it right now.
in this booth.
But to Chris's point, though, I'm
Are
with
they
you.
overrated?
I'm
They
with
haven't
you.
been great.
And there's 2 ways to look at it, Chris. One is they're winning without playing their best football, which is fair.
Which is good. You need
But then there's the other part of it where it's like, that secondary a little suspect.
Yes.
Like
So-
Darius Slay, people don't talk about this, and I love Slay.
I think he's
love
out today.
Slay. And he's out today, but even when he's been in, he's been getting cooked.
So are you going to stick with your 28-13, or are you rolling with me +7? If they're
Zach
cooked.
Wilson, I just think he is so far down below anyone else. I just don't like Zach Wilson
Breece
for some
Hall,
reason.
Garrett
I think he
Wilson.
stinks. I get that, but guess what? They're gonna have to, if they're running the football, you got to run it into Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick. Like, Passing the football might be a little easy, but they got Zach Wilson. He stinks. So give me the Eagles. Covering too.
Me too. Eagles are covering that.
Jets are covering +7.
Get them a touchdown.
7. Yeah.
They're going to cover that.
Wait,
but
no,
I think it's
Jets +7.
Yeah, okay. But Chris, I'm kidding.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, no, cool story. But Chris was talking. Great point by Chris. Excuse me, Booner. Questioning the Eagles because I think that's fair. I do. I'm just messing with you, Booner. You know
just give us 1 or 2 games where you dominate somebody you're supposed to beat. Like in New England, like you're supposed to just thrash them. Just thrash them. Like you need 1 or 2 of those games, I think, for me to kind of believe it. Because right now, they look like a very good team, but they don't look to the same level as they were last year.
Todd says Wilson 73% completion percentage last week. Todd, don't fall for it.
Don't do it.
Todd.
Fall for it, Todd.
Todd, I got
Fall for it, Todd. Let's go.
What? So I'm gonna start calling Zach Wilson. That's your guy now.
Not my guy.
Okay.
No.
I'm just making sure. You seem like you're hyping
That's
him
your
up a
boy.
little bit. What's going on with him?
Not my guy.
Big game by Zach Wilson today. 3 TDs. What are you betting?
So who's your guy, Baker?
No, I've never defended Baker
No,
like
I'm
you're
just-
defending Zach Wilson.
I'm not defending Zach Wilson. All I'm saying is this team's going to keep it close. A touchdown.
Okay.
7 points. It's a lot of points when you're at home. Home dogs. They hit like 70% of the time.
Booner now knows how it feels for me when I talk about Baker. I'm like, the guy's gonna have a terrible game. They're like, that's your quarterback.
That's
what?
your boy.
What? I swear, man, isn't it frustrating? All right, let's go to
CJ Stroud's your quarterback, right?
That is my quarterback.
That is my
I mean,
quarterback.
us three versus Lucas.
Yes.
We had a battle, and that is our quarterback.
Justin from the Morning Woodward Show. He says Jeff loves some Baker. I do not, but that's
Justin's
that's
in
the
there?
joke flying around.
From North Carolina.
Yep, from the NC.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Let's head to break here, and when we come back, we'll talk about it. We'll give our game predictions. You guys can react to them. Please drop your game predictions too. As we're giving ours, we'll read some of your guys' off, and we'll go through it. You're tuning in to the wonderful Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network with the boys. We'll see you in a little bit.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel. Come hang with the Woodward Sports crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
With money on the line, featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
The Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We're getting into our game predictions here.
Let's go, baby.
We just
Lions, baby.
Lions, baby. You know what time it is. Again, don't forget the show's brought to you by our friends over at Bullseye Event Group and our friends over at Long Drink. And you see it behind us. Subscribe if you're not already to Woodward Sports. Man, we're 52 and over 52,500 subscribers, man. Appreciate you guys. You make this company what it is.
Lions, baby.
Let's get to our game predictions because you guys want to know where the origin of people saying I like Baker comes from? Because I picked the Lions to win by 3. Because I didn't pick the Lions to win by 40 or 50 or 60 or 70, I love Baker. So that's where I'm going to go, guys. Lions win 23-20. By a game-winning field goal on a game-winning drive by Jared from Riley Patterson. That's what I think will happen today.
Am I allowed to dispute your score prediction? Is that allowed?
Okay.
23 points just seems low versus Bucs defense. I don't.
So they're a bad defense.
Not bad, but I don't think they're like a top-tier defense to hold this Lions team who's consistently getting over 30 points a game. Do you think
the Falcons are bad?
No, but then what was the Falcons score?
No, I'm just waiting. Do you think the Falcons defense is really good?
They were Average.
Lions scored 20 at home.
Okay. Tough game. Guys were out.
Is the argument over?
No, it's not.
Okay.
They scored
Continue.
34. They score 34 points today.
Okay.
My prediction is.
Are you serious?
I'm hitting my prediction right now. 34-17. The Detroit Lions win the football game.
So
34-17.
a blowout on the road against a
I mean, I wouldn't say a blowout.
Am I allowed to dispute your prediction?
Let me finish my prediction
Okay.
first. Give me a second here, buddy.
I'll wait.
34-17. The Detroit Lions, they're going to be up probably 24-17 going into the fourth quarter, something like that. Score a touchdown in the fourth quarter to kind of put them over that edge. Get a late field goal towards the end of the game, and it ends up being about 34-17. Or I do think it's closer. In the past, I've said like the Packers game, I only missed that by 3 points. Remember, Jeff, I have the NFL script. I only had that by about 3 points, and I literally said the Packers are going to go out there and the Lions are going to take a huge lead on the Packers, and then it's going to come back. I have a feeling this game's going to be a little closer through the first 3 quarters, and then in the fourth quarter, the Lions are going to get two possessions, field goal, touchdown, win the game comfortably at the end.
What about this comment? I'm salty. Says I'm going to kiss my golf poster before the game.
Good luck.
I'm not saying to do
Jeff's
anything.
going to kiss his Baker Mayfield poster.
Stop it. It doesn't matter what I say. I can say Baker's going to struggle today. No. You like Baker. Okay. This comment, Justin says, Baker's going to score the same amount of points on us as the Chiefs. Jeff thinks Baker's on par with Mahomes. Okay, fine. Lions 73, Bucks 0. Fine. Is that fine?
No, I do think it's a good score
73 to 0 Lions.
I would say a 3-point game. That's fair with it. I'm fine with that. It was just more so the 23. I think this Lions offense does go out there and score a little bit more than 23 today.
Okay, Lions win by 70. There you go.
28-24 Lions.
I like that. 28 points. I like that.
What about you, Chris? What do you think?
That was actually my exact score. 28-24 Lions.
Now he's lying.
The booth is locked. The booth is in lockstep.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay. The booth is on. And by the way, so like Mr. Ray, I don't see us putting up 30. Well, careful, Mr. Ray. If you say that,
you may love Baker.
You may love, yeah. If you say that, you may love Baker. That is fair. Let's see some of the comments people putting in their predictions. Joe Westfall 28-17, Lions winning. Ziggy says Lions 42, Bucks 28. David says Lions 33, Bucks 19. Jeff Olson says Bucks win 24-20. Lions have no answer for Baker and Evans. I'm not that bad. The Lions have no answer for Baker. That's a little ridiculous.
Eric Allen, 34-17 could be a very potential score.
That's a little ridiculous.
Thank you. That's my score prediction.
If I said on air the Lions do not have an answer for Baker, like I would, please attack me. That is a little overboard. Because you would say, well, the Bucs don't have an answer for Jared Goff. That's just, I don't know. That's ridiculous. I got a 3-point win. You guys have a little more of a dominant performance. Mike and Chris, you guys are in lockstep. What was your score prediction?
28-24.
Damn, you heard it twice and still didn't know what it was.
I'm just saying, I'm reading these comments. You guys must love Baker. That's what I might take away.
Big Baker guy.
Yeah.
Big Baker guy, apparently.
Shout out Maz.
We like him just slightly more than you. You got him at 23 points.
Yeah, but I'm a hater. Don't forget. Let's see. Nicholas Darris is Jack Campbell first pick.
Oh, wow.
Jack Campbell, I think.
Kirby Joseph plus 550 interception.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I'd like the Kirby Joseph odds plus 550 for him to get an interception. Come
That's
on,
going to be
it's due.
It's going to happen.
He's a ball hawk who has not had a turnover this year.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Who do you think? This is actually a real question here, fellas. Prediction. I'm going to do another. I don't know if you guys watched the watch party last week. I did a parlay that had some field goal kickers. It had the last one that we hit where everyone went crazy was Jerry Jacobs tackles. Who do you guys think leads the team in tackles today? Because there are some numbers in here that I'm looking at, and I'm considering doing Kirby Joseph tackles. I'm considering doing Alex Anzalone.
I'll go Tracy Walker.
Can you read some of the lines for the people?
If you guys give me a sec, if you guys want to fill a little bit of filibuster here a little bit.
Yeah, I'll
Big
go.
word for me.
I'm going to go Tracy Walker to lead the team in tackles. That's who I'll go. Maybe that's not ideal because that would mean if your secondary is leading your team in tackles. But I just think Tracy's kind of a do-it-all safety. Just because he leads your team in tackles, I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily because he plays in the run game too. I think Anzalone or Tracy would have to be my two.
So Anzalone, last week was his first week over 8 or more tackles. So that was where I was like a little nervous. Alex Anzalone right now is plus 115 for over 7.5 tackles. That's also solo and assisted tackles. Tracy Walker's his line is 5.5 for tackles. That's minus 150. Derek Barnes is 5.5. Kirby Joseph, this is the one that I liked. Oh, actually, this isn't the one I liked. Kirby Joseph is 5.5. Jerry Jacobs 4.5. This is the one I was going to go with, guys. It sounds really wild, but Will Harris, over 4.5 tackles. He's playing that nickel spot. He's playing that nickel spot where Brian Branch gets a ton of tackles. It's plus 105. He had 8 tackles last week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course.
I mean, he's filling in a spot where Brian Branch was leading the league in tackle, or the team in tackles. And he filled in last week, had 8. I'm sure he can get 5 this week at plus 105.
You know who's going to be in that slot on him? Chris Godwin.
Okay, and what? So he gives up catches, and guess what he does? Tackles Chris Godwin. That's a tackle.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
rebuttal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. No, again, Will Harris, fine gentleman, fine man.
Hey, you guys can debunk me.
Yeah.
You guys can debunk me all you want. I'm the one. I hit it last week.
And no, nothing personal. I didn't expect a Will Harris. Getting some Will Harris love. I didn't
4.5.
expect
Yeah,
that.
It's not love. I mean, we're betting here. We don't give love out.
That's fair.
On
Make
FanDuel
money.
right now, Aiden Hutchinson has the best odds to get an interception.
What?
Yes.
That's
What?
insane.
Yes.
Wow.
Plus 380. Hutch, I have no idea why.
That's a random plus 380.
Kirby Joseph is plus 650.
Like, you gotta throw something on that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that with you, Booner. I'm gonna
This
go Kirby Joseph for a pick today.
If you want to make fun of Will Harris, on the app I'm looking at, Will Harris had his plus 500 for an interception, and Jerry Jacobs, Kirby Joseph are both plus 550. Will Harris has the better odds to get an interception.
What are you on? You're on DraftKings?
Barstool.
Oh, I'm on FanDuel.
So, hey, I'm just throwing that out there.
Cool.
Nice.
I don't know what to say to that.
Sweet.
You
Sick.
think Will Harris gets a pick today? Say it.
No, I've already made a guarantee
Okay.
that it's Kirby Joseph
Okay.
plus 550.
You keep dipping your toes in the water. Jump in, buddy. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm
Is Will Harris
going to
get a pick
take
or
his.
not?
No, I'm going to take. I never said that. I said Kirby Joseph.
Jeff says,
I'm
say it
going
with
to
your
take the
chest.
tackles
Say
for
it
him.
with your
though.
chest. Okay.
Do you like him more or less than Jeff likes Baker?
Okay.
Ooh,
Chris, that was out of pocket. No, I do not like Baker. He stinks.
You're blushing right now. The screen makes it a little white, but I can see you in person here. You're a
Chris
little
is
red.
messing with the picture.
That is an out of pocket statement. I do not like Baker. But Will Harris to get a pick per Booner.
Nicholas Duncan said Romeo 2 sacks.
Romeo.
I don't know if he was saying he has to.
This
or-
point in Romeo's career, I just don't throw things like that out. Like 2 sacks for Romeo. That's not something I would say with my chest. But I like Romeo, but he's just kind of a shell of what he was.
Did you see who traveled with
And that's
the team?
okay. Who?
Josh Pascal.
He's out today.
He's
though,
out,
isn't he?
but I saw he traveled with the team, so that's a he's there. He's in the building.
Yeah, Pascal is
play
now
next
that's a man I do like a lot. Pascal, I've been excited for him. I want him to get back ASAP because I think his effect, he can do everything. Play on the edges, play inside. I like Pascal a lot. People are arguing in the chat here and going back and forth. Brennan says Hutch will get a fumble. For people talking about, is Laporta playing? He is playing, per Adam Schefter. He just tweeted this out. Lions rookie tight end Sam Laporta is expected to play today versus Tampa, per Jeff Darlington. The Lions rookie tight end Sammy Laporta, the man, the myth, he's playing today. So
Let him cook.
let him cook. You heard him. So, Booner, I think some of those lines for Sam Laporta, you confident? You might throw some money on Sam today?
Probably not.
Okay.
I probably will.
So you're kind of like with me. I'm a little...
Yeah, I think he still has a normal game. I just, like, last week we put on, I think his line was like 50-something or 53, and he didn't hit that. I think it was just more so, like, now if he has a little injury, I still think he's productive and gets 3 or 4 catches. I just don't know. I'm not confident to be like, oh, he's going to get 60 yards again today. He might have a touchdown, a red zone touchdown. He's still a threat. He's still the best tight end in the NFL right now.
Yeah, statistically, you are correct. Well, Travis Kelce had a big game last week.
Yeah, but statistically, he's still the number 1 tight end.
Okay. All right. Funky says, Jeff, how much money you put on it? If you haven't, then you don't believe it either. If you're talking about Kirby Joseph, I'm throwing 10 on that. Like, I think that's more realistic than anybody. If you're talking about a Baker interception, to me, unless Aiden gets it because he's favored, it'll be Kirby.
That is the weirdest line I think I've ever seen.
You know who I also like to get a pick today? Side note, Cam Sutton. Because he
was plus 650.
He's due.
To people.
He's due too. And he's going to be, if one bad throw by Baker and Cam Sutton's there, he's going to get it.
I'm sticking with Kirby.
But I like Kirby a lot, though, too. All right, that'll do it for today, guys. Appreciate you for joining the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Jeff Iafrate, Booner, BMG, Broder, appreciate you for joining us early on in the show. And then Chris Platte, of course, holding it down for us in the TD booth. We appreciate you guys. Again, stick around later. We'll have the Detroit Lions, the watch party for Woodward Sports. 420. And I ain't talking dispo. I'm talking
nice.
We're talking
420.
We're talking the stream.
The time slot. We'll be on And Funky was not talking to me. Appreciate you, Funky, for that clarification. But again, appreciate you guys for joining. Before you leave, hit the like button on the stream. It helps us, helps the algorithm, helps the network. Until next week, we'll be breaking down the road game. You'll be back with me, Booner. We'll have the same crew. Lucas, he's handling business in Toledo. So Chris Platte helping us out today.
Lions, baby.
Lions, baby.
Shout out Ryan Ermanni.
It'll be a fun one. We'll see you guys later on for the watch party. Deuces.
Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.